You're watching The Spotlight on MMA Draft. I'm Frank Trigg, and this week we're talking with Angela Jennings. Yes, I guess it takes longer than a couple minutes to get your hair done every day.
Yeah, about 5 hours.
Yeah, I don't, obviously, for obvious reasons, I don't understand that.
Beauty is pain.
Does it get in the way of grappling and fighting and all that? I mean, that's going to get messed up.
As of now, it's been fine. I've never had this actual hairstyle. I got it done just because my hair is usually everywhere, like it's not in braids and falling out of my ponytail, so I thought I'd try it.
Oh, so, okay. We'll find out that.
It's a new do.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, first, I want to talk about the Combine. You placed first in the female division, the MMA Draft Combine in Michigan. How was it? Explain that experience to me. What did you think of the Combine? Did you think, are there any improvements you think could happen to it for the way it's set up?
No, I thought it was great. The only thing is I expected a larger turnout for women. Like I figured they'd be coming from everywhere. But other than that, I loved the experience. It was nice to see where I stood with the women that were there. And actually, I learned some stuff about myself, how to push myself and my times, and I really enjoyed it.
What happened to your competition? Was there any girl there that you were like, oh, this is my competition, like she's my direct competitor, and I gotta beat her? Was there any of that going on in any divisions?
No.
No. How far ahead were you of the other opponents when you were competing?
At the MMA draft?
Yeah.
Pretty far ahead. I mean, other than pull-ups and maybe the striking and how hard you hit. I mean, there were girls in higher weight classes that hit close to me, but I, placed first. But other than that, I mean, there was no one really close to me.
Was it a good judge of how you are as an athlete now? You took a lot of good stuff away from it now?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Speed, agility, hand-eye coordination, everything.
Okay, well, the draft here in Vegas was a huge success. A lot of the guys that came away from it were amazed at how much they learned about themselves. Even the ones that didn't place in the top 4 or 5, they figured out that this is where I need to improve. I've talked to a couple of them since, and they're much better fighters than they were the last time I saw them. It's because of the draft that they figured out what they needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about your title fight coming up here on April 19th. Who are you fighting for, and who's your opponent?
I am fighting for Ron DeLeon for Capital City Cage Fight Championships, and I'm fighting a girl named Brittany Wellington.
Okay. And have you seen her before? Is there any footage on her? Because I know it's tough at the lower level trying to get.
I've seen her in person before. I've never seen her fight in person. I mean, I've seen some videos out there, but I've never seen her fight in person. But I have crossed paths with her, yes.
Okay. So is she a striker? Is she a ground girl? Like, how do you think this fight's going to pan out?
I think she's more primary, probably a striker. I haven't seen anything that has any skill with her ground game. She doesn't concentrate on her ground game, but I'm assuming she's a striker from what I've seen.
Now, a typical week for most fighters before they have to get ready before they fight, the week before they kind of back off, they slow down, they start tapering down, get ready to make weight. You're competing, though, the week before your fight.
Yeah, Saturday.
You're going.
I get a whole week in between, though.
You're gonna compete in a no-gi grappling tournament. Is that correct?
Yes, the Michigan Open.
Is this something you've done before, and this is how you prepare for a fight? Is you grappling beforehand, or?
No, but I mean, I have done things close to fights. If anything, it kind of keeps me fresh. I did the Michigan Open last year. I didn't have a fight a week after, but I have taken actual fights back to back, which I'm kind of done doing that. But it shouldn't really affect me at all. If anything, it should keep me sharp, I believe. It's no gi, so if it was gi, it'd be different.
Okay. Yeah, it's a much slower pace for no gi, or much slower pace rather for gi than for no gi. When it's no gi, it's basically taking the striking out of a MMA fight. So now you were a basketball player in high school. You were a power lifter as well.
Yes.
Why MMA? Like, how did you make the transfer into MMA then?
I did pretty much everything: basketball, volleyball, track, powerlifting, and I was always a daddy's girl. I watched, UFC on TV. We'd always watch it. I went and saw a fight in person, and I was always very interested in it, but I just didn't have the time because of my high school sports. That's everything I did. That's all I did. And in college, I played some volleyball for a little bit. But then one day I went and saw it in person, and I remember just being like, man, I have to do this. I called my dad. I was in Tennessee watching a friend fight. I drove all the way to Tennessee to watch him fight. And I remember seeing it and then calling my dad like, when I get back to Michigan, we got to look into this. And I fell in love with it.
Okay. And how long have you been training now?
I've been training a little over a year.
Okay. And this fight coming up on April 19th will be what number? Which fight?
7.
Your 7th fight. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're 2-4 right now is your record. What happened in those other some of those other fights? What do you think happened that you could have changed now with more growth to get a victory out? Like, pick your last loss.
Yeah, now that I look back at it, it's definitely my mental game. I made some mental errors, very stupid on my part, mental errors, which cost me the fight, which were all to me upsets. So I've really taken the time to step back, and now I'm, taking more time in between fights and really focusing on my mental aspect along with my striking because I'm mostly a ground player. So
yeah, I was wondering with I don't know. My next question was going to be, are you in the no-gi grappling tournament because you're trying to significantly work on your grappling because you're more of a striker, because that's just who you are. You are a grappler.
No, it's actually the opposite. I'm more of a jiu-jitsu girl than a striker, but I've been working on my striking.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's Angela Jennings. Thanks for coming here with the MMA Draft and the Spotlight for this week. I really appreciate it. Angela, good luck on the 19th. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.